making sure that nothing is going to come down in the studio here.
And it is going for quite a bit, everybody. It continues
this is a very strong
to rattle
earthquake.
pretty strong here.
8:21 here on the air. We're experiencing very strong shaking.
Wow.
I think we need to get under the desk.
All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back after this. Wow. All right, welcome back, everybody. Juan Fernandez, Sara, Donchey here. If you were watching us just a short time ago here on the KCAL9 News at 8 o'clock, first, during Marquina's weather forecast, we experienced what I felt was a small aftershock. And shortly after that, when it came back to us, things really started to rock to the point that the lights here in the studio
the desk itself
really
was
started
shaking
moving.
from side
The
to
desk
side.
that we're sitting in also started to shake quite a bit. So, my goodness.
My heart is racing, I have to say. I grew up in Southern California. I've experienced a number of earthquakes. I felt the earthquake the other day in the San Gabriel Valley. It felt like significantly stronger shaking, and we're checking USGS right now to get you the latest information. We don't know whether that was an aftershock or an earthquake in and of itself, but that was significant shaking that we felt here in the Studio City area. Juan, I know we've seen these situations happen live on the air before here on KCAL9 and CBS2 in the past, but that was significant shaking to the point where there was some concern about some of the fixtures that we have in the studio swinging back and forth. And once I felt that desk moving, it felt like we needed to duck, cover, and hold on. And
once you're in the middle of it, of course, you're wondering when the shaking is going to stop. In fact, some of my friends immediately reached out via social media. Somebody said hard rolling too. Somebody said I felt the building buckle where I'm at. And apparently, we're looking at 7.1, possibly, is what we're looking at here. This is to friends of mine, of course, that have been reaching out to me just within the last few minutes or so. So if you're watching us right now on KCAL9, also on CBSN Los Angeles, we felt significant shaking here. Experts.
We're now seeing at least preliminary information. The USGS website is getting a lot of traffic right now. It looks like that could have been a 7.1 earthquake, and it looks like it was in the Ridgecrest area. That is where we saw just a couple of days ago a 6.4 magnitude earthquake. Lucy Jones with Caltech had said a couple of days ago on our air that there was around a small possibility, but a chance that we could see an aftershock greater than the magnitude of the earthquake that we felt the other day. We do have reporters in the Ridgecrest area that have stayed there. They stayed in a hotel overnight, continuing to cover the aftermath of that earthquake. We are going to check in with them the second that we can get a signal from them, and confirming, of course, their health and safety, because that was significant shaking in LA. You can only imagine what the people in Ridgecrest were feeling right now. All right, we have our news anchor, Sandra Mitchell. She's joining us live on the phone now. Sandy, I'm assuming you're out towards the Santa Clarita area. You must have felt it just as strongly as we did here. I do believe that earthquake right now was downgraded to a 6.9 magnitude. If it stays at that magnitude, it will be now the strongest earthquake we've had in the past 20 years here in Southern California. Indeed. Yesterday's earthquake that started off as a 6.9 was downgraded to a 6.4. That was considered the strongest earthquake we had here in Southern California in the last 20 years or so. But we experienced today, which the folks at Caltech will tell you, an earthquake like this, after an earthquake like we had yesterday, would still be considered an aftershock, but it's still considered an earthquake. So we definitely felt it. A sizable earthquake on its own. We're joined by one of our executive producers who's coming to us from the Burbank area. She's on the phone. We understand that a high school in Burbank was evacuated after this earthquake hit in the studio here. And it is going for quite a bit, everybody. It continues this is a very strong to rattle earthquake. Pretty strong here. 8:21 here on the air. We're experiencing very strong shaking. I think we need to get under the desk. All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back after this. Wow. I was out of there. I was under the desk pretty quickly. I have to say, I'm still pretty shaken. Juan, I give you credit for being so stoic. Some of our floor crew is here kind of taking a look at some of the fixtures and the lights above, and there is still some swaying. So I do want to remind our viewers, we in our coverage of the earthquake over the past 24 hours now, we have seen a lot of people who were running out of buildings when they felt shaking. And the experts all tell us that the best thing to do is to duck, cover, and hold on. As you just saw there, we just react however what instinct says for us to do. But the best thing, if you do feel shaking in the next couple of minutes, the best thing the experts say to do is to duck, cover, and hold on, and not to run out of a building.
Yeah, and that's because if you are inside a building that perhaps is covered in brick, the brick could become loose and, of course, hit you on the head and of course, cause quite a bit of injury. So you need to be careful. And a lot of us were talking about this yesterday, including myself. When yesterday's earthquake hit, I basically froze. I stood still and watched basically a potted plant shake. I felt the floor underneath me kind of undulate a little bit, move, and I just stood there waiting for this earthquake to stop. So it's not one of those things that you immediately go into earthquake mode, as what you said, you stop, take cover, and whatnot.
It's not necessarily the instinct. It's not the instinctual response. Certainly, I experienced the earthquake from yesterday in the Pasadena area. I felt it, this one here, obviously here at our studios in Studio City at the CBS television lot here. And I have to say this one, in my view, and of course, experiencing an earthquake is entirely subjective. Some people may not have even felt that one, but that one did feel significantly stronger. Again, this was centered out of the Ridgecrest area. This is north of Los Angeles, 160 miles, give or take. And so that earthquake, that shaking that you were experiencing, as Dr. Lucy Jones was explaining it, would probably felt more like a rolling than some of the violent shaking that they may have experienced closer to the epicenter. We are doing our due diligence here on KCAL9 and CBS 2 to check in with some of our reporters who are on the ground in that area to make sure they're okay. And speaking of our reporters, we want to go ahead and check in with CBSN Los Angeles anchor Jasmine Veal. She joins us on the phone. Jasmine, where are you and what can you tell us?
Well, I'm at home, and that definitely got my heart pumping.
I bet.
We're here, settling in for the night. But, you know, I'm thinking about the people in Ridgecrest. Obviously, this one's stronger, but this is exactly what we talked about today. I did take some cell phone video. You guys are probably going to see that. Yeah, my lights banging together, and I told my husband, I said, this is an earthquake. I mean, this is one of the aftershocks. It's happening right now, and it definitely, I knew just after all the talks that I've had with these seismologists that this was probably the bigger one that they were talking about. Just today they said a 6% chance that we would get a larger earthquake than that 6 magnitude. And sure enough, right now, what are we saying, 6.9 at this point? So, yeah, the lights banging together. My dog started barking. You know, I have a 7-month-old baby. He luckily is okay. I mean, he didn't wake up or anything this time. He did yesterday with 6.4. But, you know, this is scary, and it's you know, like I said, it gets your heart racing, but you do think about the people there at the epicenter, what they felt, the jolt, and this was that kind of rolling motion. I think Randy Page said it earlier today that the characteristics of every earthquake are different, but the fact that this kind of has the characteristics of being rolling, and it kind of, you know, the waves, and it makes you feel very, very dizzy. And I just saw the Dodgers, they tweeted out a video that they played right through it, but you could see their camera shaking up the game tonight. Yeah, Jasmine,
I want to get your perspective. So we're both new moms, and I just want to know, the first thing you probably did was to go to your baby, right?
Well, you see me running toward the baby room, and I have a monitor, so I was able to check and look at him, because, you know, the first thing you think is, uh-oh, don't wake the baby, but go get the baby. And so then the dog starts barking. So, yeah, you just think about, gosh, what's our plan? What's our emergency plan that we have in place? And, you know, that was on our to-do list this weekend to replenish our emergency kit, to get water, to get food, to make sure we have flashlights and backup batteries, everything that experts have talked to us about, what the Red Cross has told.
All right, it seems we may have lost connection there with our Jasmine Veal, but you know, that's something you need to take into consideration. Sara was talking about being a new mom. If you are a parent or a caregiver for somebody, such as a parent or a roommate or whatnot, there's a lot to think about, right? It's not only yourself, it's not only you need to worry about, but now you're thinking about a baby, what you need to grab, make sure your relatives are okay. So now may be a good time to check in on some of those relatives. I know I've been hearing from a lot of my friends. They've been checking in. They're watching us right now on CBS and KCAL9, also on CBSN Los Angeles. A lot of people saying that not only did they feel the shaking to be a lot stronger than yesterday, but some of my friends are complaining and talking about feeling a bit nauseous, which I felt a little bit nauseous after yesterday's earthquake. I felt like I was on a boat, on a rocking boat and whatnot. So if you're feeling those symptoms, It's probably a result of this 6.9 earthquake that we just experienced here. Another earthquake in the Ridgecrest area of Los Angeles, of Southern California.
I just want to check in now. We have Stu Mundell, our helicopter reporter, who is in Sky 9 and Sky 2, I believe, over a fire station in Orange County where they are now unearthed. Stu, what can you tell us?
Well, first of all, we actually left the Orange County area and we made our way over here to Los Angeles County. They're in Hawaiian Gardens. That's probably the closest one. And we did come here to check because they're in earthquake mode. That usually means they're going to park their trucks outside the station. Right now, we see the stores are down. But on our way over here, we did see the truck driving around. Pretty much that's what they do. They'll drive their area, that area that they cover. So this station out here, they're probably out driving around right now, just making sure they don't see any visual damage. On the scanners, though, we are listening, and there are calls already of gas leaks, and that's what caused those fires out in San Bernardino. So that is something to really think about at home. Just kind of double check if you have a house, wander out into the garage or wherever your gas meter is, just double check it, make sure it's not leaking. Just on a personal note, because we were listening to Jasmine talking just a few moments ago, we were actually getting fuel in Orange County at John Wayne Airport, and when the earthquake hit, and it was a long roundabout type of like shaking, and it just wouldn't stop. It wouldn't stop long enough. I actually called my wife at home. Home for me is going to be Palmdale, so much closer to Ridgecrest, and I called her and I said, "Is it still shaking up there?" She answered right away, and she basically said it just stopped. So it was still shaking in Orange County, so it shows how those shock waves really kind of move in a way. Also, you know, Jasmine was talking about making a plan. You got to have a plan, and our plan, we basically talked about it yesterday, is the first thing is call all of our friends, not friends, but family first and then friends. I called my wife. Everything's fine up at the house, but it was really interesting to hear her say, yeah, it just stopped, but it was still shaking down here in Orange County. As far as damage out here, we are listening. If we hear anything significant, we will go there. LA County Fire, though, they are in what's called fire mode, and they're out driving around, driving through their areas, just making sure that everything is copacetic. There's one of their trucks right there. That's actually the one from Hawaiian Gardens, drove by while we were doing our report. Live in Sky 9, Stu Mundell. Back to you guys in the studio.
Definitely a lot of great advice there, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. This should serve as another important reminder of how to prepare for a significant earthquake. Lots of shaking here in Studio City and around the LA area.
Yeah, so we thank our Stu Mundell for that. Something that he had also mentioned, which I just thought of myself, if you have one of those electric car door openers, garage door openers, go ahead, and if you still have power, check it now, because a lot of times with the shaking, the rails come askew, come loose, and your garage door won't go up in case you do need to leave the house sometime tonight. All right, I want to go to Jeff Nguyen, whether you're a longtime resident or you've been here a short amount of time. I moved out here in 1996 from South Florida, where we were dealing with hurricanes, right? Yeah. And in that time, I mean, I skipped over the Northridge earthquake, and I had experienced some minor earthquakes. What we've experienced over the last few days or so, I personally have never experienced before. So,
you know, in comparison, I grew up here in Southern California in a city called Diamond Bar, if you're familiar with that. We've experienced significant earthquakes over the years. That was definitely a memorable one, live here on KCAL9 and also streaming on CBSN Los Angeles. Okay, one of the places that the earthquake was felt was over in Dodger Stadium, right in the middle of a baseball game, as we understand it. Our reporter, Candace Crone, is out there. We have some video of the shaking at Dodger Stadium.
Shaking,
let's listen into this.
Cameras and that we're feeling here at Dodger Stadium. I think we got another earthquake.
Yep, we definitely have an earthquake going on. It's a pretty good one too. People in the upper deck are moving a little bit.
They aren't kidding about that, right? It was definitely stronger.
Announcers stayed so calm, I have to say.
They were very stoic, and the game went on. The players obviously didn't feel it on the field there. We're watching this video again as this unfolded over here at Dodger Stadium. The announcers there basically saying that they saw the upper decks moving just a little bit as well.
Do we still have Candace Crone with us, either on the phone or?
Hear me?
Yeah, go ahead,
Candace.
Candace.
Tell us what happened.
You were there, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually still here now.
And the video we just showed you there, just put that into perspective, is in Las Vegas, Nevada, where this Summer League game was taking place. They felt it out there all the way basically to the sea here in Southern California. And I know as far down as Dana Point, our Crystal Cruz, is spending her weekend out there, and she sent me a text saying that she felt the shaking out there. Of course, we were on the air right around 8:18 when that earthquake hit. Let's show you some video of shaking in our own newsroom here at CBS LA.
Wow.
And you heard exactly what some of the folks in our newsroom were screaming.
Get under
the desk. Get under the desk. In just a little bit, Sharon Tay is going to be joining us here to continue our coverage. She was in the newsroom when this all happened, and we're going to get her take as to what was going on.
We saw some injuries
when that happened.
with the earthquake yesterday, and a lot of them were associated with people exiting buildings. The instinct, of course, is to run when we are confronted with danger. But in this case, the experts tell us that the best thing that we could do is to duck cover and hold on. Another important reminder of why it is so imperative to be prepared in Southern California, in the greater Los Angeles area, to have a kit, to have a plan, to have a communication plan with a family member, either out of state or in a different part of the state for that matter. And one of my friends here who works for the city of Pasadena just texted me and said, please remind your viewers to have a sturdy pair of shoes available, a pair of gloves, just
a flashlight.
Certainly, radios, anything that you could do to put yourself at an advantageous position in case we do see what people have been calling the big one for many years.
Yeah. Well, we're waiting for an update from Caltech, so we're going to bring that to you live. In the meantime, meteorologist Marquina Brown, she's on the desk with us here. Oh, well, let's go right to Caltech. There's Dr. Lucy Jones.
As you all are quite well aware, we did have another earthquake this evening.